Good afternoon, Steve. Thank you very much for coming down and joining me today.
I'm glad to come down here and looking at sort of what's going on around here and the kind of sort of project that is likely to go ahead and the impact of the traffic that's going to be coming out of here. It's very significant, and I think you're quite right to be worried about it. And that's the reason why the Ulster Unionist Party is very clearly against this project, because of the large volume of traffic that is anticipated, the effect on the A2 road, the effect on the local environment, the effect particularly on the local residents, and the residents all the way down the A2, because these lorries need to get into the main distribution network in Northern Ireland. And the road network in this area needs a significant amount of investment. This is not an acceptable development.
I'm glad you've started with the trucks and the transport. We were on Keelan earlier on. We're down now at the lovely White Harbour. Maybe not so nice today in the weather, but did you see many trucks going up and down Keelan?
No, but one of the things is somebody who's lived in the area and knows Carrickfergus very well, and also has driven along this road many times in the winter. One would be very concerned about the size of any sort of lorries going up and down this road. And bearing in mind sort of most of the main traffic that goes from Larne goes along the A8 to be well clear of here, it just goes to show that the A2, particularly around here, is not suitable for heavy goods vehicles at all.
What would your thoughts be then on the impact this might have on tourism? Bearing in mind you've mentioned the heavy traffic that we would expect to see. Would it benefit tourism or have a detrimental impact?
Well, if we look behind us and if we look across over towards Whitehead and then through to Blackhead and around there, this is going to be an area of considerable tourism potential. And the Gobbins and everything that's to do with the Gobbins Path is somewhere where we're trying to attract thousands and many thousands of visitors coming every year. Being stuck behind some fuel lorries coming in along the A2 is not going to help that.
It's definitely not going to look very good.
No.
Just like to touch again on the numbers that we've been given on their primary planning application documents. They're currently saying that there's 144 trucks using this road, and I know it's something that I like to go on about quite a bit, but I think this is sort of key to our concern at No O'Clock Point, is that they're saying that there's 144 trucks using Key Lane and this establishment at the moment. I live very close to the site and can say hand on heart I've never seen them. We were down earlier on. What are your thoughts on the fact that these guys are telling us that there are currently this amount of trucks going in and out of the site?
Well, it's very difficult to say because I haven't seen the number of trucks coming through, and talking to many of the local residents in the area, they haven't seen those large numbers of trucks coming through. But the one thing is very clear: people know the size of fuel tankers, they know the size of those vehicles, and they know how difficult they will be to get past. And the fact that there may be over 100 or 100 plus movements of those a day coming out of here, that's something that can't be acceptable to the residents and can't be acceptable for the people of East Antrim.
We've touched there briefly on the people of the area. A lot of the residents have strong concerns with regards to light pollution, air pollution from the trucks, the tankers, the ships coming in. But we've been crying out for more information from the developers, LCC, who are the parent company. We met with them briefly as residents when we first started our group up. They met with us, but then they said on their application documents when they were updating them that they met with community representatives and then used that as an example to not have any further community involvement. They did refuse to be interviewed for the Frank Mitchell U105 show that we had on the radio. They refused there recently to go on BBC Newsline, and they seem to feed the same statement over and over and over again. We are very concerned that they don't want to speak to the local representatives, as in ourselves, and they don't want to speak to the local residents. Do you think that's something that we should have to put up with?
No, and it ties in with some of the other things that is going on in Northern Ireland. You look at Arc 21, the incinerator on top of the hill, which I am very massively opposed to, as is many people in the South Antrim and East Antrim area as well. And again, it's a set of developers who are going around not talking to the local residents, not talking to the community, and not giving the evidence that's going forward. And I call upon all political representatives, not just from the Ulster Unionist Party, to be asking questions critically of the company, but also of the local council and the planning authorities about what they're doing about this and why this is going ahead.
You've certainly been putting my mind at ease this afternoon down here. We hope to see this sort of commitment from the other parties and hopefully see a bit of commitment with community involvement. As LCC, they say they want to be involved with the community. We're yet to see it, but hopefully moving forward we will.
Well, there's other issues to do in this area as well, because you see what's going on here behind us in Cloughan Point, but also we've got the issue with the gas caverns and infrastrata that's gone underneath Larne Lough. And there's significant problems there, and there's significant problems of what, if it goes ahead, will be going with brine being pumped into sort of areas of the North Channel, and the impact that's going to have on the environment. So these two projects alone could significantly impact on the environment across this area. This is the kind of thing that we need to be looking at critically going into the future. And bearing in mind the Ulster Unionist Party is committed to net zero carbon by 2035, you do have to ask yourself how these two projects, if they went ahead, are going to make this planet and our nation a much better place going forward.
Certainly when you're mentioning about the environment, it is forefront in the news and the media at the moment. People are starting to wake up to what we're doing to the planet. But just on a more local scale, like you mentioned the gas caverns there, with them pumping brine out there, with these super tankers coming in, they've now raised it from 1 a month in the original document. They've now said in their scoping EIA document that they plan to see 1 to 4 a month coming in and 1 going out. That's 10 ship movements possibly a month. I know for a fact that, having fished these waters for a long time, I've started to see that the water in Belfast Lough improving greatly. The bird life, the sea life have flourished. We're now starting to see shark species such as spurdog, smoothhound and huss being caught more regularly not too far from here. Juvenile sunfish have started to come into the waters in the summer, and not that long ago there was a triggerfish caught near Ballyholme.
Yeah.
Everything seems to be going right, but plans like this just seem to say we're going to turn it back.
Well, in some respects, this and the gas caverns is a double whammy. It's a double whammy for the environment around East Antrim. It's a double whammy for the maritime environment across this area. It's a double whammy if we're trying to make this place a significant area of tourism. And we do have a climate emergency. We need to be thinking about what we're doing to reduce the impact of this going forward. And, going as we look at the kind of issues that we're having to deal with as we go into the future, we're moving towards a much more all-electric economy. We're moving towards greater use of sort of gas, replacing issues like sort of other hydrocarbons like sort of diesel and petrol. We're moving in that general direction. Is this an attempt to build a white elephant that's not going to be of any use?
Well, if it goes ahead, it certainly would be the biggest single gateway of fossil fuels into the whole of Ireland, so it definitely seems to be going against what everyone else wants to do. But
we do have a climate emergency. We're looking for net zero carbon by 2035. I can't see how this helps.
No, neither can I. Steve,
okay, thank you
very much for the time, and I appreciate you coming.
Thank you very much.